Hey everyone, it's Brad here from Yu-Gi-Oh! Team Plus One, and today I'm coming to you guys with a discussion on the Nats format. So, this is the third national event I've qualified for, and it's going to be the first that I'm attending for Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm pretty excited for it. I've been doing a lot of research, been a lot of testing going on, and I've been trying to figure out what's the best deck, and what's going to be played the most, and everything else about Nats, to give myself the best chance to win. So, this format, we have kind of an interesting format in the sense that it's very diverse. Never has there been like so many tier 1 decks, but the problem with them is they're all rather inconsistent. So there are 4 main decks right now. We got Monarch, BA, Pendulum, and Cosmos. Cosmos, there's 2 different builds right now. There's kind of the more control build, and there's the more explosive with Fire King Island. And then BA, we have straight BA, we have Trap BA, and then we have PK Fire, Phantom Knight, Burning Abyss. And then we have Monarchs with domain builds and extra deck builds. So I just named like 10 decks that are like viable. And there's definitely more that are viable. Raid Raptors are insane now. They have Cattle Call. Despots are really good now that they have their series complete. They have like 1 through 9 in Jet and Despot Base. They have everything. And definitely tons more. And there's tons of other like really powerful cards. Like Kaijus are insane. They're very meta defining right now. You can't make a deck based off making a single monster. Like if you had made a deck based around making towers in this format, it would just get Kaiju'd and you'd lose. So yeah, they're really interesting in how they like work with the meta right now, because barely any decks like playing them, but so many decks like outing problems that are presented to them, such as Dark Claw, Ultimate Falcon, you know, all these huge monsters and like non-targetable things like Dark Destroyer that are just easy outs with Kaijus. So I've been thinking, and probably the best deck, in theory, would be one that can use Kaijus to an advantage to out monsters like that pretty much every deck can make right now, with Beatrice being a problem, and Dark Destroyer, Dark Planet being one from Cosmos, and, you know, you can make Hope Harbinger from Pendulum monsters. I mean, there's just so many huge monsters out there right now that Kaijus are really, really good, I think, in the meta. I'm definitely going to predict there's going to be quite a few in the top playing lists, but I don't know what else is going to be in there. So the problem with Kaijus is you can kind of brick if you open up a lot of them. So there has to be some way to kind of incorporate them into your deck, maybe. Maybe you like Destruction, so you can get effects off from Kaiju Slumber, or something similar to that. Or also you can use the level 8s or 7s to make Xyz monsters or Synchro monsters. I kind of incorporated that into a Performapal Pendulum deck. It's working well. I'm actually considering it for Nats. This is pretty much the exact list that I would bring. I've done a lot of testing with it. But yeah, there's quite a few things that I want to talk about. So I'm going to go over the pros and cons of what I think are the 3 best decks, and I'm going to tell you why I think they're the 3 best decks. This is in no particular order, so they're just the top 3. I'm not saying which one's the best right now. So I think BA, with ways to out problem monsters, so like Kaijus, is going to be really, really good. So thanks to this handy dandy calculator, I figured out just how likely you are to lose to Winter Cherries. So it's insignificant, honestly. About 1 in 6 games where you can side in Winter Cherries, you will lose to it. And that's including numerous factors that it's a little bit less than that actually, but I just decided to round it up. But Winter Cherries isn't that scary, honestly. They have to open it, otherwise it's not good. You can play around it to some extent, like you can set a Solemn Strike first, or you can use Drag Down into the Grave. And also, if like you're playing the Ditto, for example, if I cherries my opponent's Dante first, he can't cherries mine, so it makes his cherries dead. And cherries is kind of a dead card once it's past turn 1. So with all those factors included, I think BA still have a very large chance of being a good deck this format. This is really brand new list. I have done very little testing with it. The kaijus are just to out problems. Gardla, I picked this kaiju just because you can crash Beatrice into it, then bring out Dante Pilgrim, attack over it, and discard a card. But yeah, BA, I'm definitely thinking are going to be one of the top 3 decks. The next one I want to talk about is Pendulums. And I'm not sure exactly what build, if it's going to be like really Draco Slayer heavy, or have Magicians in it, have Kieran in it, other things like that. This is just kind of a standard build I have right here. It's going to be really, really strong at Nats. Pendulum mechanic itself is just really dumb. The idea that you can summon 5 monsters after your normal summon, after you've used all your cards, like if I did an instant fusion first and then everything else, and then it just all gets sent to the extra deck, that can pen 5. It's dumb. Like, imagine just like 2-3 years ago when it was powerful to normal summon a Rescue Rabbit and bring out 2 dinos. Like, that was powerful back then. Now, if it allowed, we could pendulum summon 3 Rescue Rabbits, 2 more dinosaurs, and make 4 Legias. I know it's not necessarily possible, but like, just the mechanic itself is extremely powerful. The one reason I don't think they're the best is they struggle with getting around problem cards. So sure, they have 3 Eccentric if they do opt to run it, but then they have to run things to make an early Diamond Dyer before their Pendulum Summon, something else to out cards like Solemn Strike, Solemn Warning, Chaos Trap Hole, and then there's also going to be the threat of Nat Beast being a potential monster your opponent can make. A more likely one is Hope Harbinger, extremely deadly against pendulums, and it's just, all in all, it's a powerful deck, but it has some balance issues where it can't necessarily be consistent enough to be powerful and still out all the problems. So that's why it's not the best, but it's still one of my top 3. The next I want to talk about is Monarchs. Now, honestly, I would put Monarchs as being the best right now, but I'm going to leave that up to you guys, what you guys think is the best. But there's 2 main builds going on. There's the Domain Monarchs, and then there's the Extra Deck Monarchs. I personally think Domain Monarchs are trash, so I'm going to go over the Extra Deck Monarchs. This is a really well-tested build. I really like it. Side deck, not so much. I haven't tested that as much. So, pretty much what this deck can do is it can out Floodgates by using cards like Adrius, and then it can go ahead and use or summon 2 huge monsters every turn, pretty much. The ability to have Gem Knight, Seraphonite come out from Brilliant Fusion really adds consistency to the deck, because you can search for a Tribute Summon monster with Jax Knight and then get return. I mean, this deck is like consistent, probably the most consistent of the 3 I've named, but it does struggle with one main thing, and it's kind of a odd thing to struggle with. It struggles with momentum. This deck has to keep going turn after turn after turn. It's not going to kill your opponent in 1 turn usually, unless if they literally just left an empty board and you opened up the nuts. So the deck has to go on for a few turns and has to play like the mind games with your opponent, play into certain things your opponent might draw into, unfortunately. So this deck can struggle with that. If it loses all of its momentum on like turn 2, it's gonna lose the game, unfortunately. There's like no coming back from a turn where you can't get off a summon or deal with your opponent's monsters. I mean, it just really is hard to get the engine going again. But the versatility of the deck with making rank 5s or adding in Quick Draw Synchron to make cards like Ultimaya Sulkin and bringing out Crystal Wing, I mean, it has so many possibilities to make cool plays that are like really strong. And also, Pantheism is just busted. It lets you draw into like anything you need every turn. But yeah, Monarchs are good except of the momentum problem. And I feel like this is going to be the most frequent deck we're going to see. And that's about all I have on these main 3 decks. And I'm going to do a little bit on Cosmos now. So I don't necessarily have a good Cosmo build at all on here. But Cosmos really brick. And when I mean brick, I mean they lose to themselves too much to be competitively viable for Nats. In a 12-13 day tournament, or a 13 round tournament, hopefully it isn't 13 days, we're going to see, if you're playing this deck, you're going to see yourself opening like all ships a few times, or all really bad psychics. I mean, this is a terrible build, probably, but like, this deck has very big consistency issues, and also, it can lose momentum really quickly against certain decks. If you can make like a Dweller, or you can make a Utopia Beyond, or not Beyond, Utopia the Lightning, and just clear its ships, and they don't get banished, they're going to lose access to those for a little bit, unless they're running Call of the Haunted or something. But I don't think it's going to be one of the top 3 decks. Yeah. But this is pretty much all I know about Nats. I know that the deck has to be consistent, the deck has to be able to deal with problems, and it can't lose to like a single card. That's the most important thing about finding the best deck this format. I really think that that's the major drawback of Pendulums. I feel like they could be the best deck, except they lose so hard to Solemn Strike and Solemn Warning if they can't deal with it. But yeah, that's just my thoughts, guys. I have a lot of other decks I've been testing, trying to find if there's another answer. Probably the best one I've found has been Despots. Despots are pretty nutty, honestly. But I don't think they're going to be the answer, unfortunately. If you guys have found a cool deck that you want me to bring to the spotlight, please tell me. I think this Nats format is going to see like probably 5 different decks that are going to be able to do really well. There's going to be Cosmo that's going to be like able to top if someone gets lucky enough. There's going to be Klee, Cards of Demise, which is just a really helmety deck if you haven't heard about it. It really can only play what it's given. You can't outplay your opponent. You just have to rely on what you draw. Then there's going to be BA, Pendulum, and Monarch. So those are the top 5, specifically top 3 being Pendulum, Monarch, and BA. Tell me what you guys think, and if you guys want to see more in-depth analysis on what's going to be happening at this Nats event, it's coming up fast. It's just a month away now, and I'm going to be there. I hope you guys will be able to come there and see me, and hopefully I do well. Hopefully you guys do well. I'll see if we can meet up at the event, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.